Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking 102.49 Tibetan Dzi Beads. A couple months ago I got a comment, and I can't find it now, but I had a comment about someone wanting to see Tibetan Dzi Beads, and I had never heard of them before, so I did some research, and they're really beautiful and fascinating beads. They're big too. And in Tibetan, Dzi means to shine or be bright. They also believe that these beads counteracted the evil eye. So this is like, the opposite of the evil eye bead. So I never knew that, and now we all know this. I love historical beads, and this is like a really great take on it. And with that said, this is a lengthy video, so let's get right into it. I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. All right, we're going to start this out by pulling out some silvered stringer, or should I say silvered cane. I always find that when I make silvered stringers, the glass tends to get really brittle. I don't know if that's the case with everybody, but I prefer to make a little thicker silvered stringer, and it does help. So I'm just going to get a nice wad of ivory hot and stick it to the end of a metal puntee. And then just kind of get as much glass as I want here. A pretty good amount, like the size of a cherry tomato maybe. Okay, so I'm going to heat this up and just round it out in the marble mold. So when I pick up the silver, so it's much easier with a nice even shape. And I do like silver foil over silver leaf. I just find it a lot easier to use, being thicker and a little heavier. So I'm going to heat this up and just give it a roll in the silver. And I also want to burnish it down real nice, however I can. I'll roll it in the marble mold as well. And the interesting thing about silver with the glass, I'm just going to heat it up here and burn it into the ivory while getting my other puntee ready. And I'll just puntee this up a little bit and get it hot. But what I was going to say about the silver foil, have you guys noticed how it insulates your color? So I always notice that. So whenever I use silver, I know that it's going to be hot for a while. So take your time pulling out the silver cane here, and just try not to pull it out too thin. All right, I'm just going to cut it in the flame when I'm ready, and I have two nice, like 1.5-foot pieces, so this will be enough for what I need. And I'm just going to break that off, and it's ready to use. All right, now we are ready to make this bead. The one thing I didn't mention is that this is a 3-inch bead. It's very long. And when I'm working on something that has to be a certain length, I will mark the edges of my bead release with a Sharpie marker. So you'll see those little dots there. And that's where I'm going to start. And I'll just start with my little footprint bead here, get a couple of them going till I feel confident enough. and then I'm just going to scroll a little bit up the mandrel. I like to break this bead, or larger beads like this. I like to break the bead down into different sections. So with this bead, I'm going to break it down into 3 sections to get all this glass on. And the reason why I do that is because once I'm done with one section, the previous section is cold, and I want to make sure it does not break and it's warm at all times. All right, so I warmed everything up. Now I'm going to do this last section here, always keeping my bead release nice and hot as the glass is winding on the mandrel. All right, now we're done with our first section here. So at this point, all I need to do is make sure everything's nice and warm. You can spend the time to completely smooth this out, but it's not horrible looking in the center. And I'm really more concerned about my edges looking nice. So I'm just going to leave it at that and move on. This bead took about an hour to make, and most of it was just building and refining this bead. All right, so the next section, I'm going to do about 1/4 of an inch in. Don't you hate it when that happens? You know, the glass breaking anonymously or, you know, whenever like that. Just, I don't know. Okay, so moving on. I'm just going to fill in a little bit, give it some reheat, and fill in the rest, stopping about 1/4 of an inch from the other side. And then just spending my time heating, smoothing, and just getting a nice shape back. And again, it's more important that my edges, that my sides look nice than the middle, because I'm going to be adding more glass to the middle here in a minute. So we'll do one more layer. And I'm just going to take a little bit of time just to refine the shape. Again, really concentrating more so on how the sides look and how the angle is sloping and nice and evenly, you know, rolled out. And now I'm going to do my final layer. I'll start at the same point, about 1/4 of an inch out, and get about halfway. I'm going to split this into 2 parts. Then heat everything up, make sure the darkest parts are warm. And then I'll go ahead and add the rest of my glass, or at least try to here as my rod continues to break. But anytime I feel like, you know, the glass is cooling too much on the edges, I will stop and give that a heat and then just continue with what I'm doing. All right. Okay, now all the glass is on here. Yes, it looks sloppy, but with a lot of heat and gentle rolling, we will get this into a really nice looking shape. And at this point, it's really about refining and refining and refining. There are a lot of people who will make these beads on the end of a mandrel, and it's amazing to watch them work. But I have a very hard time with that, so I do much better with a raised up marvering pad and working with both of my hands on the mandrel. So I'm just working in my edges, and then I will go from the center, you know, and kind of roll from the center out. A little bit more refining here. I have to say, in the end, I just really enjoyed just the shape of this bead and, you know, the making of it. There was a lot of, like, I don't know, I felt like it was a very meditative event, making this nice shape and just getting all the way to the edges. And before I move on and put my pattern on, I just want to make sure that it has the perfect line. All right, now we're ready for ready for the pattern. Okay, so now there's a whole bunch of different patterns that these beads have. And this is the one that I found most prevalent out there, is the 9 dot pattern. And I'm going to start out by adding a wrap on both ends. I'm not perfect at it, so I will use my tweezers to kind of straighten anything up if I need to. I have a nice, small, real sharp pair of tweezers here, and this is they're really helpful. And as I'm doing that, I am also thinking about the center of the bead being too cool. So at some point I've got to stop and kind of, now I'm heating everything up, the center, and then working the sides and just melting in, very gently melting in those wraps, making sure they're smooth and ready to go before I move on. All right. Now I am, after some heating, I'm ready to start the second band. And it just leave a little bit of space in between both of these. And a little bit of maintenance here. And I will just, heat this one up. It kind of is up to you on how you're feeling. You could add the other one and then heat them up like I did before. But when I'm working off the cuff like this on something that I don't do often, I am really just kind of feeling my way through the whole thing. All right, let's put this second band on and finish that up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just heat everything up and then start to gently smooth this out. All right, looks good. So I just want to make sure everything's nice and warm before I start. And what I'm doing here is adding some guide dots, very tiny guide dots. I want to make sure that each one of these sections, so there's 3 stair steps I have to add, and I want to make sure that they all start where they need to start. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by adding this stringer. I'm going to go down about 1/4 of an inch, over 1/4 of an inch, down and over and down again. So I have a little 3 stair step going on here. And, no, it's not perfect. None of this stuff is going to be perfect. But what is helpful is before you move on, you immediately tweak everything you can with your tweezers, your knife, whatever you can to make the pattern as straight and nice looking as you can. So I do spend a lot of time just tweaking everything before I move on. And then I'm going to give it a nice warm heat and just gently press it down. So when you move on, it's not going to pop off later. You just want to make sure it's nice and flat. All right, so now we're going to hit the second dot and do the exact same line, trying not to, my eyes were deceiving me this whole time making these lines. But as long as the corners are not touching the corners of the previous line, as you see from the historical pictures, they don't touch. So they're just kind of free-floating little stair steps here. And again, lots of kind of pushing around. And once I like the way it looks, then I will flatten it out. And again, this whole time, I'm still thinking about the whole bead, heating up both sides, those edges where it's really tiny and thin, that's where it'll start to cool down first. So I always want to, it broke here, but man, I got really lucky and was able to get this line on the break. And then I was all like, okay, let's keep going. And then it broke again. So, if you have problems with your silver stringer popping and breaking, you're not alone. It's normal, I guess. Sometimes you just can't get around it. All right, so a little bit more tweaking on this final step here. I call them stair step. That's what it looks like. Each one of these beads, depending on the design and the pattern and how many dots there are, they evidently have different meanings. And I couldn't find any kind of translation for the meanings of the amount of dots or the patterns. But I thought it was kind of interesting either way. Okay, so just starting now that I'm finished here, I just want to smooth everything down. We're almost done. All we have to do is add the dots. But before we do that, I just want to make sure the whole pattern is nice and smooth into the black. And the other thing I thought was interesting is that I guess maybe my flame maybe had a slight reduction to it, but there is some reducing happening because my black has some blues and greens in it. Kind of strange. All right, so now time for the dots. This is a 9-dot Dzi bead, and I'm using a thicker part of my silvered stringer for the dots. I'm just going to add one in each of the squares that we made. Now I'm just going to start heating everything in, and instead of just heating and getting the dots to melt in, I find that that's just too much heat. And so what I like to do is this. I like to go through this whole process of heating each dot individually and just pressing it down. And by doing that, I find that the final heat incorporates the dot into the glass much quicker and crisper as well. Now, another thing about, they're not really dots on the original Dzi bead. What it is it's like a circle, or yeah, it's like a little circle. Anyway, so to do that, I have a black stringer that we're going to put a dot in the center of each one of these right here at the end to give it the final look. If you guys are still with me, I really appreciate it. This is so much fun to make this bead. The whole idea of having a counteractive, amulet to ward off the evil eye. It's cool. I love it. It's awesome. Let me know what you think too. And I don't make long, large beads like this very often, but it was fun. It was a good day, you guys, and I needed a good day. All right, so on with these little black dots. Make sure, try to get them right in the center. If they're not in the center, you can very gently push them where you need to with a butter knife, but they're so small that I feel okay about just melting them in to the glass and then very gently just pushing them down the rest of the way. And that is it for our Tibetan 9-dot Dzi bead, you guys. I hope you enjoy, and again, let me know what you think, and I hope to see you soon in the dungeon.